So, we're going to go ahead and get straight into it. Today, I want to talk to you guys about how we get thrown off of our financial plan and or our budget. Why that happens and why that happens so effortlessly sometimes. What we can do about it, one in the moment, and two, how to prevent it in the end, and the systems that we can create to help ourselves through that process. So I want to thank, I believe her name is Claudia. She asked this question in the app. And I really wanted to focus on this because I see that this is something that most of us are going to struggle with when we're starting this journey and trying to get our finances under control, trying to manage our money and make it, an easier process and to reach our financial goals. So, first and foremost, if you guys don't have the 30-day challenge in your app, that just means that you haven't signed up for it. So go ahead and do that. The 30-day challenge is something that's going to walk you through a lot of what we're going to talk about today. So make sure you're doing that and staying on top of the groups. Introduce yourselves. We are about to do our very first $100 giveaway. You guys know we're pretty new, and that's okay. So make sure that you're signing up for that, and let's just get straight into it. Okay, so what happens and how do we get thrown off of our financial plan so easily? First of all, what we have to look at is our triggers. So there are a couple of different triggers. Two of the most common are emotional triggers and situational triggers. So something I want you guys to keep in mind is we're really going to go deep here. So keep your mind open and be willing to really hear what I'm about to tell you. Okay, emotional triggers that throw us off our financial plan or our budget. That's things like, as an example for me, I lost my dad, and during that time, I definitely fell off of my spending plan. Another emotional trigger for me, anytime I feel really, really happy, I want to continue that dopamine stream. And so I'll go and I'll try to, I'll spend more money. So I have systems in place to help myself with that. Situational triggers, things like, oh my gosh, my car broke down. I don't have the money to fix it. So now I'm thrown off of my budget or my financial plan. And now, fuck it, I'm just over it. And I'm just going to go down the rabbit hole because we're looking for the dopamine. If you haven't noticed, the theme of the entire day and this entire live stream is going to be dopamine. So, our habits and the things that we do and take action on are always going to be supported by the hormones and the neuro chemicals that are running through us at any given time that's going to support the habits and the actions that we take to either make them continue to happen, or they're going to prevent us from continuing those actions. Okay, so moving on. Why does this happen so effortlessly? So when we get triggered, immediately we're going into like a fight or flight or freeze moment, and our body is being just inundated with hormones, sometimes the cortisol hormone. Okay, so now we're feeling down, we're feeling bad, and it's a natural reaction and response within our physiology to want to feel better. And so the main hormone that we are searching for here is dopamine. So when we're feeling down and we're feeling sad, we're looking for the things that we know are going to give us that little bit of boost. And for those of us who struggle with overspending, spending money is the thing that really makes that gush of dopamine just pour all over us and makes us feel better. So, we're looking for the pleasure in life when we're feeling really down. Before we know it, we're already into this other space. We're into a place of not following along with what our plan was. And we're deep into the pleasure seeking aspects of life that we're so used to. That's the habitual side of what we're used to doing in looking for ways to make ourselves feel better, because we don't want to feel like crap, especially when things are kind of feeling like they're falling apart all around us. This is a habit. This is supported by that dopamine just flooding in and making us feel better. On the other side of that, okay, now I feel better. the dopamine is now dissimating or dissipating, and now we're on the other side of the dip. So now we're starting to feel a little down. And so it happens to be that it becomes a perpetuating cycle, a self perpetuating cycle, where now we're feeling down again and we're becoming more aware of what's happening in real time. And so now we're aware of the repercussions of the spending that we did, and we're feeling even worse. So, what are we going to do? We're going to go and habitually look for those activities that are going to give us that dopamine hit again. So, what can we do when we're in the moment of everything fell apart? I'm way off my budget. I overspent again. I'm adding more debt. What can we do? Okay, number one, first of all, become aware that it's happening. Become aware in real time that you're like, oh, I did it again. And this might seem a little counterintuitive to some of you because you're not feeling well, but try to even just laugh it off. Okay, we got to like lighten the mood around money. We have to like lighten our spirit when it comes to this whole money situation, because when we're feeling down and negative and pessimistic about our financial situation, what we're doing is we're exuding that energy out to the world. And by the forces of manifestation, we're going to bring back to ourselves more opportunities to relive this same reality. So try to laugh it off. Recognize within yourself, oh, I did it again. Okay, I did it again. That's okay, because now I'm aware. Now I'm aware. And every single time this happens, it gets easier and easier and easier, to the point of which you can actually prevent these things from happening in the first place, which we're going to get into next. So once you laugh it off, you just either laugh it out or love it out. For me, a lot of times I'm such a sappy girl. I have to love everything out. So I just, kind of give myself a hug. Like, it's okay. It's okay that I'm here. I'm a human. I make mistakes, and that's all right. Nothing is ever so far from the point that we can't just turn it around and come back. If you feel like it's too far from the point, then you need to put it down, walk away, and just totally stop thinking about it for a while, because you're too far down the path of negativity and pessimistic attitude that's going to be too hard. It's like having a train going full steam down the railroad track and then making it stop and turn around and come back the other way. It's impossible. You can't do that. So set it down, walk away until you're feeling a little better, focus on something else that makes you feel better, and then come back to it at another time. Immediately, what you're going to want to do is abstinence. We immediately want to stop the spending, put away the credit cards, put away the debit cards, just put it all down and walk away from that. Okay. If there's things if you're spending, then take it back. Maybe you can get a refund, that kind of thing. Okay. If not, then just, put it down, walk away, and let's move forward from there. Get back into and fall back onto your systems. So those of you who have followed me for a long time, you know that I love systems. Systems are what makes rewriting habits easier. Okay. And so a big part of that are your barriers, like putting away the credit cards, removing the apps off of the phone, removing all of your stored credit card information on your like your Apple ID, all of that, taking it all away if you have relapsed into your overspending, going back to abstinence, total abstinence. Other systems that I like to put in place are cash systems, where you're only using cash for spending. Multiple account systems, where we have that account structure where we have bills coming out automatically from here. These are your spending accounts, savings accounts, and when the money comes directly in from your direct deposit or however you get your paychecks, you're immediately dispersing that money into those accounts so that you're not actually even touching it, and it becomes not, out of sight, out of mind. Okay, so let's say you've really been able to catch yourself earlier and earlier and earlier, and you'd like to try to just prevent these sort of mishaps from even happening in the first place, or at least as often as they happen, because relapses do happen. They don't have to happen, but if they do, you have a plan to get back. Okay, but let's say you're in a place where you can totally prevent it. So let's take, for an example, before we move forward, let's think of an alcoholic. Okay, so alcoholics, most of the time, they have to just abstain from drinking alcohol altogether. Okay, like they just can't do it at all. I'm not saying that you can't ever spend money again like you normally would, or that you would want to, but maybe for a significant amount of time, at least 4 weeks, you go on a total outside of your bills and necessary expenses. You abstain from any spending. Okay. The way that we prevent things like this from happening once you're to that time and space in your journey is that, and really it's built around total awareness of what you're feeling at any given moment. And secondly, it's about preparing for future events. So, you know that saying, it's like if you prepare to fail, or if you fail to prepare, prepare to fail. It is exactly that, but in the financial world. So, when you have things that happen in your life, you could pretty much, okay, so we can all pretty much expect certain things to happen. Cars are going to break down, tires are going to get popped, kids are going to get sick, dogs are going to get sick, you're going to get sick. Those kinds of things. Birthdays are coming, holidays are coming, okay? Insurance bills are coming. There are things in life that we can anticipate to happen. And a big way to prevent situational triggers, like, oh, the car broke down, da 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 da, that sends you into a spiral. Um, a great way to prevent that is to start preparing for the fact that those things are going to happen. Even if you're only saving $5 every time you get paid for future car repairs, and you only have, $40 saved by the time like a tire pops or something like that, at least you have something. And the pride of having something feeds into the continuance of that habit. Okay, so it's another way of, it's like hacking dopamine. Okay, so you're going to want to prepare for the events that are possibly going to happen in the future so that you can mitigate the the turmoil, I guess you could say, and you can minimize the effect of the trigger. As far as emotional triggers go, things like I broke up with my boyfriend, or my kid is moving out for the first time, or my puppy passed, stuff like that. Okay, immediately knowing I am an emotionally triggered human being, and I know that when things like that happen, I'm going to go and look for the feel good hormone. I'm going to look for the pleasure. Understanding that in and of itself for yourself as a human being is extremely powerful, is very, very powerful. Understand and recognize that hard things happen in every single person's life. I don't care if you're rich, if you're poor, if you're this, if you're that, it doesn't matter. Hard things happen to everyone. And so that means it's an even playing field. It is up to you as an individual to be aware and to help yourself through those situations so that you're not thrown off your path or your plan to reaching your goals. Because just because something bad happens in life doesn't mean that everything goes to shit and we just don't have any goals anymore and the world's going to end, because eventually you're going to feel better and then you're going to be stuck with the repercussions of anything that you do during an emotional triggering time. Okay, I hope that that was helpful. I kind of just spewed it all out at you, but is a lot of dense information in there. If you have questions, I believe you can leave comments on this live. If you can't leave comments on the live, go over to the beginner budgeter community and just leave your questions in that community there. Anyone who feels like they have an answer to a question, please feel free to communicate with each other. It's a great space for us to all lift each other up. I know the app is new. We're transitioning right now from our usual communication spots into this app, but this is going to be really great. Stick in there with us. And you are also going to be introduced to your coach, Alyssa, coming up soon in the next few weeks. She's going to be doing these lives as well. So, any questions that get left in the community centers, we are going to try to address in lives. I hope that this has helped you guys. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.